meet our criteria, it will be. And you start with that.
And Phil, with this reimbursement, is that coming out of our 150 or is?
What effectively, the worst case scenario is you plug after the horseshoes put up, you plug that 150 toward it, so that's kind of the worst case scenario payback. They will put safety items in front of it, so if they do an airport inspection and there's some safety item they see, they're gonna expect you to allocate funds to that first, before the payback. The big thing you're accomplishing here is just the idea that it is eligible and it's bookmarked as eligible. And then there's things you can drive as far.
So we don't really know when, by any certainty, the when.
No, and they won't define that either. You don't have enough defined for them to say, and even then, they don't control there could be a year where there's a budget fight. Outside of FAA, there's a budget fight in Washington, and the budget's delayed, or they do a partial funding or something like that. So, you don't know when it's.
Yeah. And Ed, I don't disagree with you. One of the things, and I talked to Phil and Phil about, not for us, but that to me, the biggest question and the mystery we gotta solve in using your spreadsheet on a fully drawn down $1.2 million note, we're 15.5 short of being able to service that debt. Per year. So we've got to figure out how to solve that gap.
Right.
For us to do this. The
The
economic's good, and that will help us go to the commissioners and make a case, but without solving the cash flow need there, that cash flow gap.
One other thing to throw in there kind of as a kind of incrementally like a firewall there is, if you get the eligibility, if you get to this point where you're confident enough that you go forward with the design and bid, then the amount you expended for that is way under the 150, and you can do that back in a year, 150. Then you'd have bid prices in hand, and they may come in under this estimate, or they come in higher, but that's what you're really gonna be actioning off of that number. So that's a key thing to get to from a milestone standpoint, because those are actual real numbers. You'd have unit prices, so if there's something that you see in those unit prices where you say, hey, we can adjust, maybe the asphalt's a little higher than you thought, or the hangers are a little cheaper than you thought, so there may be something we can adjust in the layout to take advantage of what you get in the bid pricing. But that's kind of a key point from an action standpoint, is having those bid prices in
I don't disagree with you, Don. That 15,500 really is the delta that we got to work with.
Yeah.
To me, I think the 30-year banknote is an acceptable compromise in the middle, especially if we take that 504,000 when reimbursed, put it as a principal payment on that loan, and then continue to take the revenues off of the rentals and put those fully toward the loan, not rolling them into general funds or other operating funds. We'll still have this thing paid off in 10 to 12 years. So that's the other side of it. But
if you get reimbursed for that 500 something, you're golden.
Exactly.
Big time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or a good chunk of it.
Oh, yeah.
Shop around for a better rate and lower terms. Like that.
Well, you might, or you might want.
And you know what, here's a wild card for you. The other alternative is to land lease this property and have a private investor come in and build the hangars. We could still, as the airport authority, go back for reimbursement for professional services and site prep and paving, put the taxiways and things in, and then have somebody privately come in, build those hangars and rent them out. I don't think that's the best alternative. I think that it's a short-term fix for a long-term problem, and I think that long-term we will lose revenue in doing that. The ownership of those hangars for the county is a much better alternative there.
I wouldn't be interested in doing anything but the county on them. Really.
Same way, if the county didn't own them, then I wouldn't go for it.
I agree. I just say it's a wild card alternative, one that is out there. And I mean, I guess there's not really anything to stop. Yeah, there is too. I was going to say somebody to come in on the horseshoe or the west taxiway and take a piece of property there and build T-hangers on it, but we have to do the approval on the site. So there is a firewall for that. So that's it on the hangars at the moment. We do need to put a committee together and begin working on this so we drive it forward. The letter has gone out to all of the people on the list I've gotten a couple of responses back from people just with a few questions, but nobody dropping out. So the demand for these hangars is still very strong.
Nobody's asked for their deposit back.
Nobody's asked for their deposit back at all.
And we've got deposits on 100%.
We have 18 hangars that are deposited, $250 deposit on each one for occupancy immediately on certificate of occupancy available. We can have more than that. We've got an additional list that Randy's working
We've got
on.
18 backup to those
Yeah.
that are ready.
So we've only taken the
These
deposits
people
from
that put
18.
these deposits out, do they already have planes out there that's not in a hangar?
90% of them, yeah. A couple of them are builders that have my own. But they
And
were
say that
already-
again, those that are on the list have a
aircraft
plane
taken.
on the field.
No, those 18 don't, so that's new aircraft coming in
Right.
that haven't been taxed and send money to the county. So we're trying to draw 18 more different aircraft. yeah.
Right.
And-
It's incremental aircraft to be
No, but-
based in the field.
Yes. Now, one thing on this payoff, if we build them like the last batch that we have, there will be 4 in units that we can rent for $100 a month. Over time, that's gonna help pay off out of whack.
There would be 3.
There
Because
will
we
be.
want to, in the design that
I
Phil and I
said you got
talked
2 long
about,
hangers.
we've got 2 long hangers, plus we've got a toilet facility to be built into the end of one of them.
So ours is at least 300 a month,
So,
100 a unit.
That adds up over time, don't
It does, and if we go to 335, I mean, hey, we'll get there.
If the county's gonna order them, I'd really put in a, you need to put in a note in about connection fee to the city. Because they're gonna, I don't know what he charges for toilet hookups and, of course, water, just a water meter, but, toilet hookups are. getting
We still got 2
down now.
restrooms and the other 2 T hangers,
Yeah, but nothing's hooked up.
holes in the floor.
yeah, nothing's hooked up, and part of what we were talking about is if you're going to have that many hangars there, we need to have toilet facilities available.
Yes,
And it was
we
going to
do.
be a unisex setup with just a walk-in with a hand wash sink and 2 private toilets off either side and call it done. Nothing fancy,
Exactly.
just functional. Any other questions on the hangar project? No? The last thing that I have,
Ed, let me just say, we appreciate you and Paul
Yeah.
Yeah, working on that.
working on that.
absolutely. Yeah. Thanks.
Good job, good job.
The last thing was, actually, Phil just mentioned that beacon install is coming, next week is the schedule on the beacon install, so glad to get that moving forward again.
Our note will expire on the 27th, so I just checked again this morning to make
So
sure
it should be in
It's
before.
up and running, so I can
Okay.
take it off.
It's not showing up when I pull, weather.
Try that right now.
Okay,
4-footer, that's straight. It expired because I didn't give it a long enough time. I
okay.
called them again today and extended it to.
Okay, today you did, okay.
Well, I called this morning, yes.
I pulled weather last week and it wasn't showing up, that's why I was asking.
It is.
No problem.
Can't win
I know, I can't. He won't. Thank you.
Last thing I have is that I do not have a budget report for the month. Faye did not get it out. She was waiting on some numbers from Randy, inventory things. As soon as that is sent to me, I'll review it. If there are no challenges or questions in there, I'll forward it out to the group. So that covers the treasurer's report as well.
All right, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Managers report.
Yep. Next.
Oh,
No, he stole my thunder. Next Tuesday on the 17th, the beacon's supposed to be installed. I guess they're gonna refurbish the tower as well, repaint it as well. So they're just gonna stick a new head on it.
They're gonna put the new head on.
Sweet. Okay, our GDOT, all of the passwords for GDOT's back up and running and corrected because of our computer crash. Tim is training in our tax department. We did satisfy one of those over the weekend during snow day without interruptions. We got that done. You can see the handout for your December sales was slightly low because of the inclement weather and rain. At the very bottom, you see our inventory at the last day of December was 741 gallons, of which about 500 that we pumped. So our 100 load lead truck will be here with a full load in the morning, tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. So we waited as long as we could. It's like throwing darts at the dartboard. Does it go up or does it go down? I ordered it at 3:30, it went up 2 cents today, so we'll see what it is when it gets here. we will adjust fuel prices accordingly. And since I have a consensus of sitting at this table, do you feel 50 cents for a resident, 75 cents for a passerby is a fair price, or should we go?
What's that gonna put your price point at?
We're looking at 389, 382 base tier, 409 transit. And I really like to stay out of the $4 ranges, but may have to. Depending on Cherokee, I'll do a 100 low lead survey of the surrounding airports and just keep it as tight as we can. 100 low lead is really just an attractant because we make most of our money in Jet A. So, and
If you can
thank
keep
you
it-
for getting that with Air Methods, because they buy exclusively from us, and that takes care of the lease on our truck. So everything else is
Very good.
that's all
I think if
have.
we can keep it under $4 a gallon, we're better off, from a transient perspective.
Yes.
I think that, the 50 cents a gallon is the minimum we should make on those base tier. I think that's a fair number personally. It affects me probably more than it does anybody else based on that field.
You buy more than anyone in this table, I'll tell you that
I
right
know. So I think it's fair, but I do think on the transient side, I would prefer to keep it at $3.99, just under that $4 mark. Any other comments or thoughts?
Over the years, what have you been shooting for on profit, average wise?
Well, in the past, initially, when we were trying to pay off our pump system, we was trying to go 75 cents. 75 cents based in $1 transit. But to be competitive, our fuel sales suffered because we weren't competitive enough to draw. And Sunny Fun's coming in April, we've got a few big events coming through the spring, and I'd like to be able to pump as much as possible. Piggyback to the 18, if we get them 18 more aircrafts on the field, they're naturally gonna fly more, so there's more fuel sales, et cetera, et cetera. So it's all win-win. You know, we sell more oil, sell more fuel, so. That's all I've got. Anybody got questions? Snow removal went well. The wind and the sun took care of it. I had to
No
call
icy road
911
next
Saturday though. I had 3 4-wheelers come down Salem Church Road and get out on the runway and the taxiway. And what happens, it packs that snow down, turns to ice, and then by trying to land, it's rutted out. It's
What'd you
bad.
do with your rifle with a scope on it?
Well, it's.
Are you required a warning shot or not?
I can cover that last over there. No, not with the price of ammunition.
Okay.
We don't do warning, we don't do warning shots.
I'm good with that.
Just put Tannerite all around next to all of our lights.
That was last year's protocol.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry said we didn't get no 911 calls, so I didn't hear a thing. That's dangerous. Well, the plane hadn't been coming in, did
That
they?
is dangerous.
Yeah, we had one fly Sunday. He was a brave soul. We had one touch and go from Atlanta, so they were flying Sunday.
Well, it's gonna be a bad fuel month for you in January,
Yes,
because I'm
it
down
is.
for maintenance, so.
And you got full tanks, right?
Now you got full
And you got
We
full
need to
tanks.
get a help team up and go get him.
Exactly.
Yes.
We're just here to help, Ed.
Yeah.
Always have your best interest at heart.
Ask Ron Arnold if he can borrow his.
His is down for maintenance as well.
No, both the twins are down.
Yep.
It's terrible. Terrible.
The thirsty ones are grounded for a couple of weeks
You know, it's hard to make a living when you pump 8 gallons of airplane.
at a time, yeah.
Yes, it's a slow process.
When we stop and pull in 100, 120, it makes a
Yes.
difference.
Much better when you tip over 100 each time.
Yeah.
Luscombe pulls up, gets 6 gallons, and flies for an hour, and they're happy, and they still got fuel there.
You're just trying to hurt my feelings.
I am with that. You have to clear out your hands full of junk, you get somebody that actually flies. Ouch, that
Heard that before.
Ouch. That's all I have.
All right,
Thanks, Randy.
thank you. Engineers report.
Basically, it's stuff Ed already covered, the hangar thing, we're trying to help Ed with any information we can on that. Beacon coming in next Tuesday, and that's fantastic to get that
Yes,
done.
it
One
is.
thing that was played to our advantage is Scott sent out, Scott Sarah, who we already knew was being switched out for Jim, Mike Jimbroni. Scott sent something out right at the end of the year saying he's basically officially retiring.
Yeah.
He's still behind the scenes, but as far as for our paperwork, and I talked to Ed about this, for things that we need from them, like the letter of agreement on the reimbursement stuff, that will probably take longer. For the first quarter of the year, that kind of stuff will take a little bit longer because Mike's in that role rather than Scott now, but that's fine, we'll just be proactive with that. So, anyway, everything's great, the beacon coming in is a big deal and doing that quickly, we're very appreciative
Yes, it is.
of the,
A lot of hustle.
contractor and all that, so once that in, we'll check it out, make sure everything's working good, and then we'll come back to Faye and tell them she can go ahead and process that payment.
Okay.
Super, once we process that, we'll get a copy of that check, PDF of it, so we can share that back with DOT, so they have that on file, and everything's there for them. So, that's it, good shape.
All right, Commish?
The request y'all made here a couple months ago in regard to the old recreation building, that's going through. We're just waiting on the individual. So everything's fine, we get that thing moved off the property of the recreation park would be a great benefit, and then if y'all can get some use out of it, it'd be wonderful. So, other than that, we just for a few days, we just been playing in the snow and skiing on the ice, but other than that, it's been fun.
Commissioner, did y'all end up going with, was it Shannon Pierce? The one that $20,000? Did y'all end up going, I figured?
Yeah, yeah.
Very good.
And so far, everything's been peaceful and quiet, knock on wood. I don't want to jinx nothing, but, yeah.
Yeah, how's that SUV coming with the gas gauge in off?
Actually, it's, I need to follow up on it. Richard, was supposed to, as soon as he gets the other vehicle in, or, because they're gonna turn that thing over. I don't know if they were gonna give you that one or the other one.
Oh, they're gonna give me the new one?
We don't have no new one.
Oh,
We just got an extra one. There's a difference between a new one and an extra one. But, it was gonna be one of the,
That's it, if you don't.
there's gonna be one of the four-wheel drive Blazers.
Outstanding.
So, I'll see where he's at with that in the morning. I've got, of course, I'm
Thank
kind
you.
of up all day, but I'll try, see if I can get that worked out between now and 5 o'clock tomorrow evening.
Excellent.
Question for you. I spoke with the Chamber of Commerce, and when we get this new building moved over, I was talking with Randy, I think we'd like to host one of the Chamber after hours over there. Nobody at the airport is a member of the Chamber of Commerce, but I think some others in the county office are. Are they? You are? Okay.
Stephanie that works with me does a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's on the board, isn't she?
No, she won't let them put her on the board.
Okay.
Anyway, she's close.
Okay, so we've got somebody that's on that, on there,
If you have
so
any if you need any information about the chamber,
I've
call her
spoken to them,
get
and,
with Stephanie. Get with Stephanie.
and it has to be a member who requests it, so I'll get with her and I'll do
She
that.
can,
Well, I can request it, either or.
she can do it.
Either way.
Yeah.
Since I pay part of their budget, I can request it.
And
Yep.
we do that sponsorship all the time with other airports, we're a chamber member,
Yeah.
so we're happy to pay the fee to sponsor the event and do all that. Happy to do that.
It's been a profitable evening already.
Absolutely. Collaboration. Perfect. Thanks, guys.
The only other thing, just to mention, not really update, well, maybe a little bit of an update. Phil Landrum still has the gentleman he's working with on for 2 hangars in the horseshoe, plus he's got an additional one. I met with a guy Friday, lunchtime, that's also very interested, that's waiting on the same lease that we're all waiting on.
And I've
No
got that lease
pressure.
out to 3 people as well, so when we get it, we'll update it with them.
It was good enough to send me some samples this afternoon, so I appreciate that very much. And I'll get to work on the draft and then probably sit down with Phil Everly and then probably gonna be on after that and let y'all see it.
And when I was talking with this guy Friday, Phil, when you did the price and we kind of agreed with it, we did agree with it, was it 26 cents?
It was 22. This was a brand new update in December that had airports that are actually tiered in kind of the top 10 based aircraft. This was for one of those airports. So this is like Cherokee, Winder, Noonan. These are all over 100 based aircraft, right? So those ran in the 22 to 25 range really. So if you were around 22, for example, that would put you at fair market value for now. And again, if you did that on a yearly basis, it'll fluctuate slightly. We had in the past like 25 or 30. Sometimes for your size, you really aren't likely ever to dip under 20, but you're required in the grant assurances to be fair market value, and so that is for 2017, that's your fair market value.
22 cents per
Square foot per year. Yeah.
And when we're looking at that, when we say adjusted every year, we would just be adjusting for a new lease, right?
Yeah, you
It's-
can, I mean,
it's
you
not-
can, yeah, I mean, you can.
It's not a floating rate.
There is
You
an
put the
adjustment,
CIP
there is
in
a consumer price index
Mhm.
adjustment in that
Okay.
lease as well.
Mhm. So you can build
But
that.
does that
It's-
deal,
The biggest thing, is you're capturing their entire area they're using, so not just the building
Right.
footprint. When you capture the entire area, when you, even at that point, when you run the numbers out, it is not a great, I mean, whether, even if you were getting 40 cents a square, it's not a big number when you run
Right.
that out.
Oh, I
This is
know.
per year. So even with those incremental, changes, that's
But now
not really
those-
where you're.
Go back, clear me up, so what you're saying is if it's 22 cents a square foot, we're still on every year under CIP? Consumer Pricing Index, CPI?
CPI, yeah.
There is,
Okay.
it's a 3-year static, and then it adjusts after that on an annualized basis or every 3-year basis. I forget exactly how the contract is written. But there is a pegging to whatever year that contract is signed, the consumer price index for that year.
and then it just
It's
increases?
then adjusted accordingly, correct,
Okay.
Over the life of the.
over the life of the lease, correct.
Alright. So, it's okay,
So if we have a big inflationary period, that could jump up
Sure.
considerably.
sure.
If we had a deflation period, it could actually come down a little bit.
And that's an accurate measure, consumer price index would be an accurate measure of the changes that you traditionally see in lease rates as far as that page.
It's to put it, because once you lock it in, that's it, you're not going year by year, because the folks won't agree to that, because it's such an unknown, at least at that. Ultimately, when you punch the numbers out for the area, like, good night, it's such a low number, and you're in hundreds of dollars, so even if it doubles, that's not really the metric that's gonna drive decisions about being.
No, I'll.
Shouldn't be if it's that tight.
Yeah, I mean,
That
like,
makes
if
a
they're doing
problem
a
otherwise.
really big area, it can have an influence on it, but.
And if it's a large area, we have the right to negotiate that rate as well, correct? To come back to you.
It's still got,
If
it's still got to go
Still
20.
gonna
Yeah,
be
you
marked
might
right,
need to stick
okay.
with it, but
So
one
we
thing
don't-
you've done, again, in the design of that thing, when you came and redid it, is it's built to be complete. If they lease an area this big, they can pave the whole thing, and the drainage is set up to handle it. So airports get in trouble when you lease an area, but then whatever they pay, they've got to handle the runoff, or worse, the airport doesn't have them handle the runoff, and about the third person that builds, you've got your runways flooded. And we can give you a list of airports that have that exact problem, because they didn't think ahead about it.
Colin being one of them.
But there's one, yeah. There's one. And so,
I had a plane flooded down there. so,
yeah, and that's what happens, and it's like, uh-oh, and so you've
Should've
handled that, so with confidence, you can negotiate with your folks, and whatever they want, they can pay the whole thing. So, just stay out of the right of way, and stay out of the area, out the taxiway.
With reference to the contract or the lease and the price, you've got to be uniform and you got to be fair with
Yeah,
everything.
and you're required to do that, whatever you think of anybody you're dealing with, or the opportunity even of what they can bring to the table. In the grant assurances, the strings on this federal money.
You have to be uniform in the terms and conditions, yes. In the pricing, you have to be uniform for those at the same time. So somebody who leases property 4 years later, 5 years
Oh,
later,
that goes
Yeah.
without saying.
Right.
yeah, so.
Except for Johnson's, we could have been different.
Good thing there's not a lot of them around, right?
So you have that nuisance fee built into that one? Good, good.
I won't even touch that one.
I'm closer to the door than you are.
And the window.
All right, is there any new business to come before the,
If I can just make one more statement. We get this gentleman sign the contract, gets where it starts moving this thing, you know exactly where it's gonna sit. Everybody's happy where it's gonna be put. Okay, if you're happy,
Yeah,
I didn't
everybody's
know that, I
happy.
guess.
okay.
I've looked at it, walked it, I'm happy with it.
Cause I don't want him to drag it over there and call me,
Oh.
where you gonna put this thing? I
Oh,
don't
we
know.
know exactly where
It's already coned off and.
Good deal.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
The mark survey, they've already done the call before you dig, and they've marked all the flags, and everything's all
Yeah,
mapped out for them.
Commissioner, we're still looking good by the end of February to make the Parks and Recreation people happy,
Oh,
in regard to,
to moving them along.
he said 7 days to strip it, 7 days to move it, 7 days to
Wow.
put it back together.
that's what he's saying.
Yeah, 21 days
The
of good weather.
contract's sitting on Deborah's desk. He's supposed to come by today.
Well,
You're supposed to know.
Oh,
something.
Yeah.
you weren't at the meeting, but he volunteered to do a $20,000 bond.
He's
over
doing that,
taking
he has
that.
to do that.
We talked.
Does he have to? Okay.
Yes, he's doing that, he's got $1 million carrier insurance on his transportation vehicles too.
Very good.
All right, any other business to come before the authority? Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry we went so long.
I just